My name is Eunice Parsons, and I'm an artist. I knew early on, even from kindergarten, that I wanted to be an artist. There was an interim that everything was on hold, but I came back to it when I went back to the Museum Art School when I was 34. It was life began. I walked on air for a whole year, just 3 feet up, my feet never touched the ground. In about 1969, I was laying out collages just as a pattern preparatory to doing silkscreens, so that I had a distinct pattern that I could follow, a roadmap. And pretty soon I looked at the collages and said, these deserve to exist on their own. See, this is part of an old silkscreen. This is part of an old poster.
She's been really dedicated to collage and doing collage over a period of now 40 years, but really came out of a tradition from the Museum Art School in the Pacific Northwest, where she studied painting and printmaking.
By 1970-71, I was sitting on the floor and tearing paper, and I said, my God, I had to go through all these disciplines in order to end up where I started when I was 10. Tearing paper, cutting paper, laying it out. Paper has been it for me ever since. This was when the artists in Portland, at least, were struggling with abstract expressionism. And I wanted to use the paper as loosely as painters were using paint. Oh, that's nice. Oh, boy. It's already weathered and torn and apropos. Anything is grist for the mill. Bus tickets, delivery packages. Wallpaper isn't as good as you might think.
So I want to show you what that looks like in the alcove, because she was one of my teachers, and I started working with her in 1970. She didn't have a lot of money. She always taught school part-time. She started teaching, she taught at the YWCA and at St. Mary's Academy in Portland in the 1950s.
But teaching ladies who come in from the burbs and want to learn how to paint, you teach, they have tender feelings, and you have to be tender with them. But when I got a bunch of kids who'd come to the Museum Art School to learn how to be artists, you had to hand it to them the way it is. I mean, no soft pedaling. It's still hard to divorce your mind from figurative elements.
She's always been incredibly honest and very, very direct. And she would tell students if she thought they had really worked hard and done something that was of high merit. And she would tell students if she thought their work was weak.
If it isn't good, forget about it. Let's look at the European stuff. This is from Italy. Thursday the 13th, Sunday the 15th.
But for her, there's a personal narrative in almost every piece of paper.
It takes a certain amount of chutzpah to go up and rip off posters. You want them to see the color and the form that inspired you. And of course, the better the work is, the more communication. And this is all about relationships of blues and greens, and the black serves as definition.
Well, I think she has been a very successful artist because she's always been very single-minded about it.
Mats that I use to.
She loves spending time in the studio.
Every piece is an exploration and an adventure.
Yeah.
And you're finding out.
And she's shown more, I think, in the last 15 years or so than she had at any time in her life. You know, here she is at 96, and you know, from like 82 to 96, having a renaissance, which is phenomenal. I think it's amazing.
I know how to be a printmaker. I know how to make an etching. I know how to do a painting. But that's all in the past, and as long as I have an attic full of paper, I'm enjoying my old age. You put an image around, you put a mat around it, and hey, you've got it. All in one gasp? Of course. I mean, art is the whole ball game. It's the be-all and end-all. It's, you know, everything else, you know, meals, walking the dog, everything else is subsidiary. I mean, an artist is, you're always seeing, you're always thinking, you're always, it's there.
Oregon Artbeat shares the stories of Oregon's amazing artists, and member support completes the picture. Join us as a sustaining member at opb.org/video.